the Noseslide. So I think this is like the millionth time I've told this story, and it gets boring, but I'm gonna tell it one more time. So I invented the Noseslide one rainy day, skating with Jeff Pang under the Brooklyn Bridge in 1988, I believe. And there's some photos of, actually there's a post on, what is it called? There's a post on Transworld Skateboarding on Origins of the Noseslide that was posted on January 18th, and it shows Gons doing one in 1988, which happens to be the same time I invented it. But basically Jeff was so good. Tail slides were already invented at the time, and Jeff could do, you know, I mean, I could do a tail slide too, but Jeff could do really long tail slides, maybe front side and back side at the time, and I didn't feel like doing them at 11 o'clock in the morning or whatever the time we went to skate the banks. And I do also remember that I wanted to, you know, you're always trying to show up your homies, and I dreamt, we went to bed that night, and I dreamt of flipping my board around, flipping my tail forward, because, you know, boards didn't have noses then, and sliding on the tail, which was the nose, you know, and then, you know, doing a nose slide with the tail forward. About a week later, I was in a parking lot skating with the two shut riders, Brian Blake and Felix Lagueras, and I taught those guys how to do a nose slide. I was like, yo, Brian, I gotta show Felix, because, you know, he was like an elder, and so I'm like, Felix, you know, check this out, and I showed him how to, you know, flip the board around and slide on your nose. It's basically like the easiest skateboard trick ever, which I think is funny, because, you know, I have this habit of trying to do easy tricks, not all easy, but just invent stuff that just flows. Anyway, so that was one of them. Anyway, so I showed Felix, and shortly after that, you know, every shut rider had a nose slide in their run. I was like, hey, there's my trick. And then maybe a year or two later, there's an ad came out with Gons. You know, so basically there's a Transworld post right now of Gons doing one in 1988. And I know for a fact he was hanging out with shut dudes, because I remember him sleeping on Jeremy's couch. We'd going over Jeremy Henderson's house and seeing Gons there. So if he was skating with Jeremy, he was definitely probably skating with Felix and, you know, the shut dudes, and definitely saw kids doing no slides in New York City, because everyone kind of learned them because they were that easy to learn, especially at the banks because the curves were so slippery. So and then I think I learned them that summer, like ollie nose slides. And anyway, in 1990, which was like 2 years later, you see Gons doing it on a handrail. I mean, I wasn't doing them on handrails, that's for sure, but it was definitely evolved from a curb trick invented in NYC. So that's the history of the nose slide. And that's the last time I'm gonna tell it, unless someone else asks me. But yeah, it was all because I just wanted to do a trick that Jeff couldn't do. And he could do them, I mean, it's just that Jeff hadn't done yet. So that's that. And how else are all tricks? You know, all tricks are made up for that reason, I'm sure. Just to make the session a little more spicy, I imagine. Make it a little more interesting. So that's that.